You're tuned to Arrow FM, your local community access radio station. The time now, 8 o'clock, time for another hour of the great music that came out in the 1960s with the 60s and Nostalgia Show. And tonight we're going to mark with sadness the passing of a whole lot of people who were featured in the 1960s who passed away this year. And we'll start off with an instrumental. It's from the king of the surf guitar, Dick Dale, and he died in March, aged 82. And this one, the Mizzaloo, was probably his greatest hit. Dick Dale there, the great surfing music man, and Mizzaloo. I've decided to do this list this week rather than next week, and crossing fingers that no one dies in the interim. But what I'm going to do next week is play the songs from the chart of the last hit parade of 1969, and the following week, on the Friday, which I think is either the 2nd or 3rd of January, I will play the songs from the first chart of the year in 1960s. So now, as we go back and mark the anniversaries of these particular ones through the decade, we'll be going back 60 years. So and there's a fair chance that what I play for 1969 is not going to get played for 1960. Righto, so the first one, and this is in sort of military order. I've written them down in a date order, depending on when they passed away. So the first one died in January. A guy called Eric Haycock, and he was aged 75. He was the bass player in the Hollies from 1962 until 1966, when he got fired from the band. So he would have been on this track.
Where do they go? Moving on their way. with their shy ways and their sly ways. Oh, you can see the little children all around. Oh, you can see the little ladies in their gown. Oh, when you look through any window, yeah, what do you see? Smiling faces all around, rushing through the busy town. They go moving on their way, moving on their way, moving on their way.
Next up, we've got the Monkeys track "Daydream Believer" to mark the death of Peter Tork on the 21st of February, aged 77. He was the sort of the goofy guitar player in the Monkeys, but also played keyboards as well, and plays the piano at the start of this track.
7A.
What number is this, Chip?
7A.
Okay, no, I mean, don't get excited, man. It's because I'm short, I know.
Oh, I could hide neath the wings of the bluebird as she sings. The 6 o'clock alarm would never ring, but it rings and I rise, wipe the sleep out of my eyes. My shaven razor's cold and it stings. Cheer up, sleepy Jean. Oh, what can it mean to a daydream believer and a homecoming queen? You once thought of me as a white knight on his steed. Now you know how happy I can be. Oh, and our good time starts and ends without dollar one to spend. But how much, baby, do we really need? Cheer up, sleepy Jean. Oh, what can it mean to a daydream believer and a homecoming queen? Cheer up, sleepy Jean. Oh, what can it mean to a daydream believer and a homecoming queen? Cheer up, sleepy Jean. Oh, what can it mean to a daydream believer and a homecoming queen? Cheer up, sleepy Jean. Oh, what can it mean to a daydream believer and a homecoming queen?
Return to sender. Return to sender.
I gave a letter to the postman. He put it in his sack. Bright and early next morning, he brought my letter back.
She wrote upon it. Return to sender. Address unknown. No such number. No such zone. We had a quarrel. A lover's spat.
I write, I'm sorry, but my letter keeps coming back. So then I dropped it in the mailbox and sent a special deed. Bright and early next morning, it came right back to me. She wrote upon it, return to sender, address unknown, no such person, no such zone. This time I'm gonna take it myself and put it right in her hand. And if it comes back the very next day, then I'll understand. Writing on it, return to sender, address unknown, no such number, no such zone. Return to sender, return to sender, return to sender, return.
Elvis there and Return to Sender, and I played that one because the legendary drummer and session man Hal Blaine died on the 11th of March, aged 90, because he was part of that Los Angeles a group of studio musicians that was loosely known as the Wrecking Crew. 12 minutes after 8 o'clock, and I think I forgot to acknowledge my sponsor at the start of the program, which is a little remiss of me, but the 60s Nostalgia Show is sponsored by Cotter and Stevens, the electrical contractors down in Jellicoe Street in Martinborough, and they've been around for many Christmases in the Wairarapa and provide contracting work, whether that be for private or commercial in the old electrical field. I mentioned last week that I bumped into a whole lot of guys from Cotter and Stevens on a farm last week, and they were putting in automatic cup removers in the cow shed. And I happened to be talking to that farmer a couple of days ago, and he's absolutely wrapped with the service that he got from Cotter and Stevens. Right, next up we've got Scott Walker, or his real name was Scott Ingalls, who died on the 22nd of March, aged 76, and he was, of course, the singer in the band The Walker Brothers, who had a string of hits in the 1960s, and Scott Walker went on for a long time with a very successful solo career. Interesting thing about the Walker Brothers is that they weren't related.
Is a cloak you wear.
You may well have a little bit of trouble picking that particular band. It was a Liverpool band called the Big Three, and prior to that they were called Cass and the Casanovas. And I played that one because a member of that band, John Hutchinson, died on the 12th of April, and he was aged 79. Those guys were a top Liverpool band, as popular as the Beatles in the early days, and John Hutchinson also played with the Beatles in 1960 and 1962, and he claimed he was offered the job of a drummer in the Beatles after Pete Best got fired. Whether it was true or not, I don't know, but if he was offered it and didn't take it up, it wasn't a particularly a good decision. Make that 19 and a half minutes after 8 o'clock here on Arrow FM. Next up, we play tribute to the songwriter Les Reed, who died in April, on April the 15th, aged 83. He was a songwriter, usually collaborated with one other person, and he collaborated with several people in the 1960s and had a whole string of hits, and they include there's a kind of Hush by Herman's Hermits, The Fortunes, and Here It Comes Again, and Engelbert Humperdinck's Last Waltz, and also this one by Thomas.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. It's not unusual to have fun with anyone. But when I see you hanging about with anyone, it's not unusual to see me cry. I wanna die. It's not unusual to go out at any time. But when I see you out and about, it's such a crime. If you should ever wanna be loved by anyone, it's not unusual, it happens every day. No matter what you say, you'll find it happens all the time. Love will never do what you want to do. Why can't this crazy love be more? It's not unusual to be mad with anyone. It's not unusual to be sad with anyone. But if I ever find that you've changed at any time, it's not unusual to find that I'm in love with you. Oh, 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 oh.
Sir Tom Jones there, and it's not unusual. When that was playing, I had a look at the LP that I played, that Big Three track from. It's a pretty good LP, this one, actually, double LP called Merseybeat, and it's got a couple of quotes that you might find interesting. The guitar's all right, John, but you'll never make a living out of it, and that was John Lennon's Aunt Mimi. The Beatles, with a question mark, they're a passing phase, symptoms of the uncertainty of the times and the confusion about us. And it was from Dr. Billy Graham. Right, next up we've got Move Over Darling with Doris Day.
Our lips shouldn't touch. Move over, darling. I like it too much. Move over, darling. That gleam in your eyes is no big surprise anymore. 'Cause you fooled me before. I'm all in a spin. Move over, darling. About to give in. Move over, darling. And though it's not right, you right now. The way you sigh has me waving my conscience bye-bye. You can call me a fickle thing, but I'm practically yours forever because you're to be kissed. Move over, darling. How can I resist? Move over, darling. You've captured my heart, and now that I'm no longer free, make love to me. You sigh as me waving my conscience goodbye. You can call me a fickle thing, but I'm practically yours forever because I yearn to be kissed. Move over, darling. How can I resist? Move over, darling. Please give me your love. I'm longing for you. I need all your love. Honest, I do. You've captured my heart, and now that I'm no longer free, make love to me. Make love to me. Make love to me. Make love to me. Move over, darling. Move over, darling.
Being Kind, you'd have to say that was maybe not one of Doris's best works, but Doris Day died on the 13th of May this year, aged 97. Because she was the famed actress and singer, and her biggest hit probably was that Que Sera Sera, What Will Be Will Be. But she also had a whole lot of hits in the 1950s from musicals that she starred in, and Move Over Darling was put out in 1962 as a theme song to a film where she starred with Rock Hudson. Doris Day, he had a long and distinguished singing career and put out some great songs. Probably her second biggest hit was a song from a musical, and the song called Secret Love, which was later covered in the 1960s by Kathy Kirby. All right, next up we've got a track from Canned Heat to celebrate, not celebrate, but to commemorate the death of Larry Taylor, who died on the 19th of August, aged 77. He played bass in Canned Heat right from the start, 1967, and we'll play a Canned Heat song, and I think I will dedicate this one to the Fonterra tanker drivers as well, because they're going up the country.
Exactly where we're going, I cannot
Canned heat there, and going up the country brought the time to just about 8:30 here on Arrow FM, and you're listening to the 60s Nostalgia Show, which is kindly sponsored by Cotter and Stevens, the electrical masters from Jellicoe Street in Martinborough. Right, next up we've got Ginger Baker, and Ginger Baker died on the 6th of October, aged 80, and of course he was the legendary drummer from a number of bands, not only in the 60s but further on as well, but probably best known for being in Cream and Blind Faith. The track I've picked is one I always think shows the talents of Ginger Baker on the drums, and it comes from Cream's first album called Fresh Cream, the song called NSU.
Driving in my car, smoking my cigar. The only time I'm happy is when I play my guitar. What a lot I got. Happiness is something that just cannot be bought. I don't wanna go until I've been all around. Anyone in doubt? I don't wanna go until I found it all out.
The Chamber Brothers there, and a song called I Can't Turn You Loose, and we played that one because George Chambers, the bass player of the Chambers Brothers, died on the 12th of October, aged 88. So that is what I found of performers from the 1960s that passed away this year, and now we might, for the next few minutes, just celebrate some milestones, and then I'll pick some songs to take us out to 9 o'clock. So in 1958 on this day, John Lennon, Paul McCartney and George Harrison appear as the Quarrymen at the wedding reception of George's older brother Harry. In 1962, if you're really interested, the Osmonds appear for the first time on the Andy Williams show, and the brothers perform a song called I'm a Ding Dong Daddy from Dumas. Nice one. 1967, folk singer Joan Baez is sentenced to 45 days in prison after being arrested during an anti-war demonstration. And on this day in 1968, Glen Campbell went to number one on the US album chart with this song.
I am a lineman for the county, and I drive the main road, searching in the sun for another overload. I hear you singing in the wire, I can hear you through the whine, and the Wichita lineman is still on the line. I know I need a small vacation, but it don't look like rain. And if it snows, that stretch down south won't ever stand the strain. And I need you more than want you, and I want you for all time. And the Wichita lineman is still on the line. And I need you more than want you, and I want you for all time. And the Wichita lineman is still on the line.
Glen Campbell there, and the album Wichita Lineman, and it was the title track. And I've got that LP at home, and no wonder it went to number one on the album charts in the States. It's a magic album. On this day in 1973, the American singer Bobby Darin died aged 37. One of the first teen idols, he had the 1959 number one with The Dream Lover, plus 20 other US top 40 hits during the 60s, including Mac the Knife, which won the Grammy for Record of the Year in 1960. Of course, Bobby Darin beset with health problems for most of his life, and was always surprised that he lived for a lot longer than what the experts indicated that he did. And I'm not quite sure exactly what the problem was. It was around his heart, whether he was born with a hole in the heart or not. But Bobby Darin, certainly an influential singer in the late 1950s, but particularly in the 1960s. So I think we'll play a couple of Bobby Darin tracks. We'll start off with Mac the Knife, and then we'll have one from not long before he died, his version of Tim Harden's If I Were a Carpenter. But first up, here's Mac the Knife.
Oh, the shark, babe, has such teeth, dear, and it shows them pearly white. Just a jackknife has old Maggie Heath, babe, and it keeps it out of sight. You know when that shark bites with his teeth, babe, scarlet billows start to spread. Fancy gloves, though, wears old Maggie Heath, babe, so there's never a trace of red. Now on the sidewalk, ooh, Sunday morning, lies a body just oozing life. And someone sneaking round the corner. Could that someone be Mac the Knife? There's a tugboat down by the river, don't you know, where a cement bag just drooping on down. Oh, that cement is just, it's there for the weight to dare. 5 will get you 10 old Mackies back in town. Not you hear about Louis Miller? He disappeared, babe, after drawing out all his hard-earned cash. And now Maggie Heath spins just like a sailor. Could it be our boy's done something rash? Yes, Susie Tawdry, ooh, Miss Lottie Lenya, and old Lucy Brown. Oh, the line forms on the right, babe. Now that Maggie's back in town, I said, Jenny Diver, whoa, Susie Tawdry, look out to Miss Lottie Lenya and old Lucy Brown. Yes, that line forms on the right, babe. Now that Maggie's back in town. Look out, old Maggie is back. If I were a carpenter and you were a lady, would you marry me anyway? Would you have my baby? If a tinker were my trade, would you you still find me carrying the pots I made, following behind me. Save my love through loneliness, save my love for sorrow. I've given you my onlyness, come and give me your tomorrow. If I work my hands in would you still love me? Answer me, baby, yes I would. I'll put you above me. If I were a miller at a mill wheel grinding, would you miss your color box, your soft shoes shining? If I were a carpenter and you were a lady, would you marry me anyway? Would you have my baby? Would you marry me anyway? Would you have my baby?
Great song there by Bobby Darin, bringing the time to, 10 minutes to 9 o'clock here on Arrow FM. And you're listening to the 60s Nostalgia Show, which is kindly sponsored by Collar and Stevens. The last milestone in this day in 2006, Matthew Fisher, a founding member of Procol Harum, wins a High Court battle over who wrote their song Whitest Shade of Pale. He played organ in the 1967 hit and argued he wrote the distinctive organ melody. Mr. Justice Blackburn rules that he's entitled to 40% of the copyright. He wanted half, but the court decided that Gary Brooker did more than what Matthew Fisher did. His claim for back royalties of up to £1 million was also rejected. And I just noticed I've got a White Shade of Pale lined up. It's on a compilation CD. It came out in 2014 and his name is credited on the title.
At first just ghostly, turn the wider shade of pale.
face at first just go sleep. Turn the wider shade of pale.
Procol Harum there, bringing the time to 5 minutes to 9 o'clock, and we might finish off with a little bit of the Cascades to celebrate getting some rain this week.
Along with her she took my heart. Rain, please tell me now, does that seem fair? For her to steal my heart away when she don't care. I can't love another when my heart's somewhere far away. The only girl I care about is gone away, looking for a brand new start. But little does she know that when she left that day, along with her she took my heart.
The Cascades there, and the Rhythm of the Rain, bringing to a close another edition of the 60s Nostalgia Show, which has been kindly sponsored by Cotter and Stevens, the electrical contractors down in Jellicoe Street in Martinborough, and first broadcast all over the wonderful Wairarapa on Arrow FM 92.7.